Hi everyone, my name is Reza. I'm a complementary therapist of Faradarmani. I'm happy that I have the opportunity to talk about Faradarmani complementary medicine with you. I was curious since I was a child and I wanted to learn more about my surroundings every day. It has been a long time that I was looking for an opportunity to do an essential thing to have a valuable life and play a role in the growth and development of humanity. My hope to achieve this goal came closer to happen after getting acquainted with Faradarmani. So I decided to dedicate my life to studying and expanding this complementary medicine in the world. To better understand the emergence of Faradarmani complementary medicine, it is better to first talk about its founder, Dr. Mohammad Ali Taheri. He has several theories about humans, existence, and also the universe. All the topics I will explain here are based on the ideas of Dr. Taheri. These theories have differences and similarities with conventional medicine and science, even with your beliefs. For instance, in traditional medicine, the type and the stage of a disease is an essential factor in treatment. Many kinds of disease, like cancer or genetic disease, are considered to be incurable. But in Faradarmani, issues of any sort of any stage can be resolved. Dr. Taheri was born on March 21, 1956 in Iran. He was a genius in mathematics. He started studying mechanical engineering in Japan and then in Turkey. He was curious since he was a child and had great enthusiasm to discover the truth of the universe, the result of which was the beginning of his inspirations and intuitions on November 1st, 1978. As he says, on that day, a mental spark opened a part of the relations that govern the universe on me. After his first findings, he devoted up to 2 decades to research and study his scientific hypothesis, which resulted in the founding of the Iranian mystical school of the Halve and 2 branches of complementary medicine, Faradarmani and Scientology, and many other scientific theories, due to the problems that arose in Iran for conducting scientific research and developing his mystical school by medical and drug cartels. He didn't work in this field for nearly a decade, so he was forced to migrate to Canada to continue his scientific and mystical work. He set up a research center there to prove his scientific theories too. He is living in Toronto right now. There are some Persian words that I want to give you their translation. The name of Iranian mysticism that Taheri has founded is halve. This word in Persian means loop or circle. The name circle or loop in Iranian mysticism resembles the connections between the therapist consciousness and the third person to a circle. So we call it halve mysticism. The third person here can be anyone, such as a patient that wants to connect to the consciousness network and benefit from its applications. Consciousness network is the source of treatment in Faradarmani known as cosmic intelligence network, that we simply call it consciousness or intelligence. Another word is the names of 2 complementary medicines, Faradarmani and Scientology. Faradarmani is also a Persian word that consists of 2 parts, Fara and Darmani. Fara means meta and Darmani means therapy in Persian. So Faradarmani means metatherapy. Using metatherapy may be easier for non-Persian speakers. However, we don't use the English translation of this word because this method is known with the Faradarmani phrase globally. If someone uses another term, there might be some misunderstandings about them. Psychontology is another phrase introduced by Taheri. It consists of three words: the psyche, mental, and logic. It is relating to studying the mind and psyche. In Iranian mysticism, the mind and psyche are different parts that have different functions in the body. However, it might be considered the same thing in psychology or medicine. Taheri devoted 2 decades of his life to examine and test his scientific theories. During this period, many books have been published by him on various topics, which includes his scientific theories and his mystical point of view of the world and humans. There are also magazines entitled Medical Knowledge that report the results of 2 complementary medicines of Faradarmani and Psychontology. Many of these books and magazines are in Persian, but some have also been translated into English, including Halqa Mysticism, Human from Another Outlook, Human Worldview, Psychontology, and Non-Organic Beings. Also, one of the medical magazines that includes the reports of Faradarmani complementary medicine is published in English. Dr. Taheri's theories, which include the 2 complementary medicine of Faradarmani and Psychontology, will open a new chapter in human history and open a new door to the world of science. Taheri received various awards for funding these 2 complementary medicines, including Honorary Doctorate of Complementary Medicine from the University of Traditional Medicine of Armenia, Honorary Doctorate of Philosophy from the International Eco-Energy Academy of Azerbaijan Republic, Medal of Scientific Research and the degree of Officer by the Royal Palace of the capital of the European Union, the Gold Medal, the Special Prize, and the Cup by the Romanian Delegation of Education and Research. The Gold Medal, the Special Prize, and the Cup by the Patent Office of Inventions and Innovative Research of Russian Federation. The Gold Medal, the Special Prize, and the Cup by the International Trade Fair of Brust-Inova. Moscow's International Medical Forum Award for New Educational Methods in the Field of Medicine. Moscow's International Medical Forum Award for the funding of the Iranian complementary and alternative medicine, Faradarmani. Gold Award by 2010 International Cyber Genius Inventor Fair in Korea. The Edison Grand Cup Award by the Academy of Cyber Genius Inventor Fair of South Korea. The Grand Cup Award was presented by the Asia Innovation Association. European Exhibition of Creativity and Innovation. Special Diploma and Scientific Order of Leonardo da Vinci for the promotion of creativity in treatment. Special Award of Inventors for the foundation of Faradarmani and Psychontology. Gold Medal of EuroInvent 2011 for the foundation of Faradarmani and Psychontology. The healing approach that we are examining right now are very novel and are introduced in the world for the first time. Also, the mentioned methods have a mystical base, and no device or medicine is used. It may seem that these methods have no scientific basis and cannot involve a subject of research in the university. This is not true for two reasons. First of all, the scientific basis is obtained after extensive research in any field, and research in any scientific field has started somewhere. There is a starting point for every research area. In addition, there are several indications shows that Faradarmani and Scientology can become an academic discipline for research. The first issue to be considered is the cooperation of universities with Hawley mysticism to hold courses in these two complementary medicines. This collaboration has been established in 4 universities around the world so far. The first case is the University of Tehran. The University of Tehran is one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in Iran. The certificate you see has been given to people who have completed Faradarmani complementary medicine courses at the University of Tehran. The second university is also in Iran. Iran University of Medical Science is the most prestigious and largest university of medical science in the country, which has held Scientology and Faradarmani complementary medicine courses. The third case is the University of Traditional Medicine of Armenia. The fourth case is the International Academy of Eco-Energy of Azerbaijan Republic. The existence of this certificate shows the scientific community's attention to these two complementary medicines. The second sign that shows Faradarmani and Scientology complementary medicine can be scientifically examined is several scientific articles published in magazines and scientific journals. I'm not going to show them here. You can find them in Google Scholar with the keywords of Faradarmani and Scientology if you are interested. There may be found different definitions of consciousness in academia. People can refer to this phrase with different meanings, which may be confusing among scientists. So we need to define our point of view of consciousness precisely. It is better to start with more basic concepts to understand the way Taheri found this new treatment. Then we will address the definition of consciousness by Taheri. In one of the books written by Dr. Konstantin Kordakov, some definitions of consciousness are more similar to our discussion. In this book, different levels of consciousness are introduced. The first level can be defined like this. Consciousness is the ability of a subject to react to environmental information and change its behavior by this information. From this perspective, every living organism, like animals, plants, and microorganisms, is considered conscious. Indeed, inanimate subjects do not consider to be conscious. The next level of consciousness is the ability of a subject to predict future events, remember past events, plan and modify its behavior to meet future situations by their experiences. This level of consciousness is related to intelligence animals. There are some examples of animals' behaviors that shows that they can predict some behaviors of their owners. All mentally healthy people have this level of consciousness, albeit to different extents. The next level of consciousness is the ability to generate new ideas, exchange these ideas with others, transmit them to successive generations, and manifest them in objective reality. Only humans possess this ability. All animals repeat their behavior and their interaction in the environment in the same way for thousands of years. There may be some changes, but it is really slow. For humans, creativity is the basis of the development of civilization. Artists, poets, architects, scientists, and many other creative people have advanced our society, and the whole of today's modern world is created only through the constant generation of new ideas. A higher level of consciousness can generate ideas which are not based on the current status of social development and knowledge, which transforms society, moving it to the next level of civilization. All genius people that cause our community to develop and improve our understanding of our environment, such as scientists or the engineers, are categorized in this level of consciousness. Based on Dr. Korotokov's category, the highest level of consciousness is the ability to accept direct information from the higher plans of consciousness and convey this information to other people. We can name particular people known to us in history who were able to reach this level. First of all, these are great spiritual teachers like Moses, Zarathustra, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad. They gave people a new understanding of their lives, formulate spiritual laws which govern millions of people for thousands of years. In different words, in other languages, they were speaking about the same thing, about human life, the human soul, and the role of the humans in the universe. Now, we understand that all religions give the same message. They all have the same spiritual content, same deep meaning. Mohammad Ali Taheri is also one of those genius persons who could reach this level of consciousness. The main benefit of this ability is to understand the structure and the purpose of the universe. However, another consequence of this connection is the ability to resolve lots of issues that resulted in founding a complementary medicine of Faradarmani and Scientology. All consciousness levels that we talked about them here is restricted to humans as an incredibly conscious creature. Taheri introduced higher levels of consciousness. So when we talk about consciousness network, we mean this level of consciousness that introduced by Taheri. This is also the source of our healing in Faradarmani. In later slides, we will examine this level of consciousness further. To understand the source of two complementary medicine founded by Taheri and their differences with other conventional or complementary therapies, we must define and recognize the consciousness network or cosmic intelligence network that is the source of this method. Both terms of consciousness and intelligence are referring to a same concept here. In the present age, human has entered an era that can be called the age of intelligence or consciousness. In this age, we expect to study and exploit the intelligence that governs the universe. Humans passed various stages in the history toward understanding the universe, gaining knowledge, and walking the path of perfection. Humans have a primitive life on Earth initially and before reaching these stages, and lacked any knowledge or information about themselves and the universe. After thousands of years and passing through this primitive stage, he has finally reached the capabilities to meet the basic needs of his life, such as housing and clothing. His mental ability grew to the point that he was able to discover numbers. This discovery let him measure, count, and express the facts around. Discovering the numbers was the first step to explain and record the realities of the universe. The importance of humans' discovery of numbers lies in the fact that the universe is made up of numbers, and it is numbers that determines its shape and behavior. For example, the formation of many structures in the universe is based on the Fibonacci sequence. These numbers start with 0 and 1, and the following number is the sum of two last ones. So 1 plus 0 will reach to 1, 1 plus 1 will 2, 1 plus 2 will be 3, 2 plus 3 will be 5, and we can go on like this way to reach the other numbers. If we put this square of these numbers next to each other, we will reach this shape, and by drawing circles in each of them, we will get a pattern that seen in many objects and structures in the universe, like a nautilus shell, a chicken egg, a storm, and even a galaxy. There are many more, but I just mentioned some of them here. There are also other numbers such as speed of light, gravitational constant, Avogadro's number, and other constant numbers in physics. These numbers determine the shape of the world we live in and predicts its behavior too. If there were the slightest difference in any of these numbers, the form and behavior of the universe would change. So we can say that the universe is made up of numbers. But what is the origin of numbers? What are numbers made from? Humans found this answer just in the last few centuries. Science helped us to discover the universe behavior and translate them to the language of mathematics that result in understanding the laws of physics or nature. The numbers that determine the behavior of nature are also embedded within the laws of physics. So we can say that numbers are originated from the laws of nature, or in other words, nature is made up of laws. The question that humanity are facing right now is, what is the origin of laws? What made the laws of nature be like what are they right now? Taheri answered this question for the first time. He says that the consciousness is the source of laws of nature. Consciousness controls the behavior of the universe by determining some laws. So we can say that the laws of nature originate from the cosmic intelligence network or consciousness. In other words, the universe is made up of consciousness. There is also a relationship between consciousness and other components of the universe. Based on our knowledge, the whole universe we know, everything around us, is made up of just matter and energy. It has been proven scientifically that these two components of the universe can also transfer to each other. Matter can completely change to energy, and energy is able to switch to matter. We introduce another component of the universe that remained unknown until now: consciousness or intelligence. The source of healing in Faradarmani and Scientology is one of the components of the universe that remained unknown. We will use Faradarmani to prove that this third component of the universe we introduce here really exists. Based on Taheri's theory, these three components of the universe can transfer to each other, so consciousness is also able to transfer to matter or energy and vice versa. Complementary medicine refers to drugs or practices that are not part of conventional medicine, and its effects have been proven to some extent by studies. The treatments funded by Taheri are categorized as complementary medicine, so it is better to look at the common complementary medicines and their differences with Faradarmani or Scientology. According to the classifications, complementary medicine is divided into two general categories. The first one that people mainly practice is natural products such as herbs and vitamins. In this group, the patient can cure the disease by taking certain herbal medicines. The second category is mind and body practice that relaxation techniques such as breathing exercises, guided imagery, progressive muscle relaxation, chiropractic, osteopathic manipulation, meditation, yoga, acupuncture, tai chi, and hypnotherapy. Faradarmani and Scientology is also a mental approach. Although these approaches have similarities with the second category, there are also lots of differences. For example, in some of them, there is a kind of practice or using a technique like focusing or breathing in meditation and yoga, or a particular movement such as in Tai Chi or Qigong. But there is no practice in Faradarmani. I mean, the patient doesn't need to do anything. In some of them, the result of therapy depends on the skills of the therapist or the client. For example, if someone can focus better, they will reach a better result. So, focusing or breathing as a skill of individuals is an essential factor. Or in osteopathic manipulation, the practitioner must learn some skills to do a better treatment. But in Faradarmani, there isn't any factor that relates the result of Faradarmani to the skill of practitioner or the client. In some methods, the result of treatment depends on the knowledge of the therapist. For example, in using natural products, if you have more excellent knowledge about different herbs and their exact influence on the body, or if you have a better understanding of the problem or disease of patients, you will probably prescribe a better product to the patients. But the therapist of Faradarmani doesn't need any knowledge about the patients or their issues. We connect people to the intelligence network and it automatically scans the body, finds the problem and fixes everything. So, unlike other conventional or ancient medicines that depends entirely on diagnostics to cure disease, Faradarmani is the only method that can resolve all kinds of issues without any need for diagnosis. In some treatment methods like hypnotherapy or psychology, the practitioner or doctor speaks with his client to give him some advice or penetrate to their unconscious to change some behaviors of their patients. However, in Faradarmani, there isn't any need for counseling with the clients to reach a better result. After connecting the consciousness, all of the patient's different parts will scan, even software parts like the unconscious. So Faradarmani has access to all aspects of our body, like a computer engineer that can fix problems in the software part of a computer. The consciousness network can entirely fix any issues that associate with our physic, mind, or psyche. In conclusion, there is no practice, no focusing, and no diagnosis in Faradarmani. So you might ask what the role of the clients here is. In Faradarmani, we just need to follow the connection. Want to be cured? and repeat daily connections. The therapist's role is to trigger the connection between the client and the cosmic intelligence network. As mentioned before, the source of healing is consciousness. And if a patient connects to that, they will receive its beneficial applications. We have different kinds of connections to consciousness, and each of them has a separate application. For example, the Faradarmani connection has healing effects on the body, like tablets that are used in conventional medicine that consist of different chemical components. There are various connections that each of them has a specific kind of effects on the human body. There can be other tablets with the same shape and size, but different chemical properties, so they will have different impacts on the body. A patient who can use two different tablets with same shape, size, and color, but they will have different effects because they consist of different chemical components. In Iranian mysticism, we also have different kinds of connections with varying impacts on the body. Individuals just need to be impartial and observe themselves, observe their feelings. After that, they will be affected by the connection and will receive its beneficial applications. So we have different types of connection to the consciousness with different applications. And Faradarmani is just one of them. As I mentioned earlier, the source of healing in Faradarmani and Scientology is consciousness. To connect to consciousness, there should be a person that is permanently connected to this network. We call this person a complementary therapist. So, a complementary therapist is simply a person who reached the connection and consequently can connect others to the consciousness. This connection is not just for humans, but we can observe the effects of this connection in animals, plants, and even cells in the laboratory. So different kinds of organisms can benefit from the Faradarmani connection. And we can do lots of research, scientific research in the universities with animals, humans, and other organisms in the nature. There is a critical issue to be addressed here. As I said in the previous slide, the Faradarmani connection is established by complementary therapists. And this connection is temporary. It means that they can benefit from this connection at a specific time for a short period. So, this connection that is used for resolving different issues is just established during that particular time. Of course, individuals can determine different times during the day to connect whenever they are free and convenient. Any person can be a therapist of Faradarmani after participating in the course of Faradarmani complementary medicine. Gender, age, nationality, religion, purity, knowledge, education, and any other factors are not important here. In the course of Faradarmani, an instructor teaches theoretical concepts and also entrust the Faradarmani connection to the students. Entrustment is defined as giving the ability to use a connection permanently by a mystical instructor. So, after entrustment of the Faradarmani connection, students can use it for themselves and also practice with others as a complementary therapist. To become a complementary therapist of Faradarmani, you need to pass the Faradarmani course. And to be an instructor, you need to pass the instructing courses. These connections were entrusted for the first time by Mohammad Ali Taheri and then by other instructors of the mysticism. There have been many other people like Taheri in the past that we can connect to the consciousness. The question is that why we didn't know anything about its therapeutic applications until now. Connecting to the consciousness directly, like what happened for Dr. Taheri, is not easy and needs a great enthusiasm. Maybe 1 in a million has this extraordinary enthusiasm, but harder than that is to make other people understand the advanced concepts about it. One cause of not spreading this kind of treatment by previous people, like Jesus in the world, might be that people do not understand it very well. But in the 21st century, humans reached enough knowledge to understand more advanced concepts like consciousness. Another fact is that there were not as many communication facilities in the past as it is right now. Technologies like the internet made it possible to communicate with people far from you and share ideas. So it seems that we are living in a golden era that anything gathered together to humanity reaches the steps of understanding the consciousness and use it in their perfection. A patient can be sit in a quiet room and observe their body and feelings during the connection. They also can lie down or be in any position they are convenient. So there is no special position during the connection. This is also possible during walking, working, speaking with others, traveling by train or plane. The connection will establish in any condition, and the process of healing will start. However, it is better to be in a quiet place without any disturbance. This can help us to feel the connection and the process of healing. Closing eyes during the connection are also optional. Most people lose their attention with open eyes, so it would be better for them to follow the treatment with closed eyes, especially if they want to feel their connection. Furthermore, there might be some people who can't keep their eyes closed for a long time, even for 15 minutes, so you can follow the connection even with open eyes if you wish. Another essential thing that most people ask is how long we need to stay in the connection. Generally, we say to individuals to remain in connection for at least 15 minutes, but the truth is that the consciousness chooses the appropriate duration of the scan. Some people cannot sit down in a fixed place without doing anything for long times, so if you are tired and do not feel anything during the connection, you can stop it after 15 minutes. But if you feel something and you are not tired, it is better to continue as much as you can. Indeed, the only condition required to be impartial about the Faradarmani. This means have a positive attitude about it, like when you are going to test something for the first time and you just want to figure out what's happening. There is no problem if you don't believe in it. You just need to accept it and be positive about it. Like when you allow a dentist or doctor to examine you, you just need to allow the intelligence to scan your body. The universe is made of consciousness. As we talked earlier, the universe has three components: matter, energy, and consciousness. Matter and energy are also made of consciousness. To prove this theory, we need to understand consciousness better and also design a physical experiment to show that it is existing. We don't have any physical experiment to show the existence of consciousness right now. However, we can prove its existence and its beneficial effects through medical experiments. The consciousness is not a matter nor energy, so it is not, the Faradarmani is not energy, trophy, it is completely different. The consciousness is independent of dimensions of time or space. The consciousness of the whole determines the consciousness of the part. For example, the consciousness of a cell in the body is the consciousness of the body itself. The consciousness of parts interact with each other. This is the principle of another complementary therapy called homeopathy. The consciousness of a set of components is the consciousness of the whole set. For example, the consciousness of a cell is the consciousness of the set of cells that gathered together. The consciousness of a part contains all the consciousness of the whole. For example, the consciousness of an atom is equal to the consciousness of the whole universe. We cannot count or measure consciousness like other mass or speed because it is not a matter nor energy. Human has a variety of components, and what this science was able to define until now is just some of those. The physical body and a little about our psychological body. I will introduce some of the different components of human existence here. First of all, our bodies. We have thousands of different bodies that finally make us what we are. Our physical body is the first component that is understood more than other, since it is the only component that can be analyzed in technical ways, such as equipment like a microscope. Our brain is also a part of our physical body, but we don't restrict ourselves to this physical body. We have other bodies like the mental body that determines our perceptions and the psychical body that determines our feelings. Each of them is a completely separated part with unique functions. They also interact with each other. In psychology, there might be no differences between our mind and our psyche. Even the brain may be considered as both mind and psyche in conventional medicine. But based on Taheri's theories, the mind and psyche are completely different bodies that each have their functions. The brain is also a part of our physical body whose role is to translate the signals of other bodies into the language of chemicals. In Faradarmani, it is believed that we have thousands of different bodies. So think about how little we were able to discover our world, our own world yet. Another component is software parts. The idea of software says that behind our physical is our hardware part. There must be some software that controls the hardware part. One of the pretty known software parts in our unconscious mind is our unconscious mind. The unconscious determines some of our automatic behaviors. There is more other software that is the topic of the Scientology course of Halloween mysticism. Energy transfers known as chakra. These transfers provides energy for different bodies. Energy channels, energy fields such as bioplasma and polarity. Because humans have a variety of complex structures, including different bodies and various different sections, it is tough for us to detect the source of disease even by the most advanced technologies. Even if we succeed in diagnosing illness, we cannot depend on conventional medicine to heal them. Our incomplete knowledge about disease forced us to concentrate on just a point in our body. This concentration causes us to fix something in our body, but it is also possible to trigger another problem somewhere else. This is something that's known as side effects in conventional medicine. So it is possible to scan all parts of human and fix all defective regions that are connected to each other to reach a treatment without any side effect. So a one-dimensional examination of the human body will lead to side effects. This is why when we are trying to treat a disease by our knowledge, there might be a deficit caused by a particular method or drug. The same condition might have some unknown reasons. For instance, a disease that originates from our mind or psyche can show itself in our physical body. We can't say that we cure the disease by just removing its symptoms. This is something that the conventional medicine mostly do with our body and the disease. There are lots of principles about Faradarmani, and I'm going to mention some of them here. First, Faradarmani is a complementary and alternative medicine that helps people by connecting the patients to a consciousness network. So this is a kind of mind approach. In the process of healing, practitioners don't use any interventions like checkups and prescriptions. Some people consume drugs or tablets because of their disease. They might feel utterly healthy after even some sessions of Faradarmani. So they ask about their medications. A complementary therapist of Faradarmani may haven't any knowledge about conventional medicine and the patient's prescription, so they can't advise patients about using or not using patient drugs. Patients must seek advice from their physician about it. In some cases, stopping consuming a drug may have side effects, and even if a patient becomes fully healthy by Faradarmani, they can't get rid of their drugs immediately. In some cases, the process of Faradarmani might take months. In this situation, a physician might decide to reduce the patient's dose of drugs gradually. So, a Faradarmani therapist doesn't intervene in current conventional medical processes, and the physicians or psychologists must advise their patients about this based on their overall health. Based on the fact that the consciousness conducts the full process, there is not necessary for the therapist to know the patient's disease. In other medicines, like conventional medicine, the physician needs to examine the condition precisely, but it is entirely different in Faradarmani. The disease is considered secret, and if just the patient wants, they can talk about their situations. In Faradarmani, we have a simple process of healing. First of all, you need to be connected by a therapist. Then your body will be scanned by consciousness. During this scan, all physical and psychological issues will be resolved after evacuation. Evacuation is an essential step in this method. In this process, the symptoms of any issues will release from your body. A complementary therapist of Faradarmani can practice with an indefinite number of people at the same time. The Faradarmani doesn't process any negative energy. Unlike energy therapy, the therapist of Faradarmani doesn't lose his or her energy. Several therapists also can practice with a single people. In this case, the results will be the same as with one therapist. The process of healing is entirely conducted by consciousness. The practitioner just triggers this connection. So there is no difference between practitioners and their experience. So working with the new therapist of Faradarmani will be beneficial, the same as with a more experienced therapist. Some people, especially religious ones, may think that to do these kinds of things, they should believe in them. But the truth is that faith is a higher step in anything, even in religion. So for establishing the connection, you need to be a witness. You may be skeptical about resolving some kinds of issues, like cancer, but you will believe in Faradarmani after observing the incredible results. The fantastic thing about Faradarmani is that the type and the stage of the issues doesn't affect the result. There is no limitation on the number of connections per day. The individuals must set up a time in their time zone and coordinate it with the therapist. Changing time zone between therapist and patients is not necessary too. This is the fact that the treatment conducts by a great intelligence. So it doesn't make any negative karma on individuals nor the therapist. So the therapist doesn't absorb the illness of clients. Their disease just disappears or fixes by the consciousness network. The general and conventional method in Faradarmani is to coordinate a time between therapist and client. But in some cases, like infants and children, individuals in coma, older adults, emergency cases, and people with intellectual abilities, in which the client cannot follow the treatment or stay in connection, we have to work with them via a one-way connection. In the one-way connection, the therapist establishes the connection for individuals and they need to check their health. It is also better for someone in the family or a nurse to be aware of the process. They might need some counseling during the process. The treatment results with a one-way connection is statistically lower The hearing results with a one-way connection is statistically lower than a two-way connection. So we recommend a one-way connection for individuals who are really cannot stay in the connection. As I mentioned earlier, the only condition of connection is witnessing. During the connection, you might feel things like tingling, seeing lights or colors, feeling a flow of energy, feeling light or heavy, warmth and coldness. The signs of the scan may be completely different among individuals. You also don't need to seek for any kind of them. You just witness and see what's going to happen in your connection. After the practitioner established the connection and you accepted the only condition that is being a witness, the process of scanning will start. Even you don't feel anything, there are reasons for this that some people don't feel the scan. There are 4 reasons actually. First, clouding mind. Every person has some kind of clouding mind, some people less and some others more. The clouding mind means that you always think about different places, experienced in the past or your plans for the future. In some people, this is very intense that prevents them from feeling the signs of the scan. Second, depression. Depression is one of the reasons that prevents people to feel the scan. If you feel depressed and can't feel the signs of the scan, you'll need to follow the Faradarmani connection until your depression gone completely. Then it is possible to feel the signs of scan too. The third one is mental lock. One of the differences in Faradarmani is that we believe in software parts in our body that controls the hardware part. Like a robot that needs programming to turn on, we need software parts to maintain our physical body. There is a specific software part known as a mental filter that keeps the mind from entering non-logical and irrational thoughts. This can also help to manage the information that we face all the time. Penetrating irrational information through this filter might be dangerous in some situations. So the mental filter is a beneficial program, but it can cause some problems when facing metaphysical events that are also true. Being rational is programmed differently in different people. It can be programmed truly or falsely, so people will use them to make decisions in different ways. The unconscious part of the mental filter will keep irrational information to penetrate to other unconscious parts. In other words, this filter will analyze the outer information. If they accommodate the logical beliefs of the individuals, it will allow the information to pass to other parts of the unconscious. The third reason is related to mental filter that cause a status called mental lock. So individuals who learn to accept just rational information have a mental lock that needs to be broken. The resistance of the mental lock will gradually decrease if you try to get experiments about Faradarmani. After observing the therapeutic effects of Faradarmani, you will break your mental lock that caused to fail the scan tool. After some time, your unconscious will accept the existence of an intelligence network and the truth of this information. Not feeling this can because of these three reasons doesn't mean that people cannot benefit from the Faradarmani. Anyone can be simply witness or impartial to connect the consciousness network and resolve any issues. The last reason for not feeling this is not being impartial during the connection. Suppose someone says that is not impossible. How something like this can even happen, or make fun of it. He won't even connect to the consciousness network. There will be no healing if you make a negative reaction to this method. This is not the option most times because being impartial is not a hard thing to do. You must consider carefully to recognize the reasons for your not feeling the scan. Are you depressed, or your mind is so cloudy, or maybe you have a mental block? There might even be a combination of all of them. If you don't feel the scan, you need to be a little patient and wait for everything to be okay. If we look at our life and people and the way we are living, we will notice that we are absorbing lots of things every day, such as some negative energies. The range of these negative energies is wide, that finally leads to appear itself as different issues in our body. For example, negative thoughts produce negative radiation in the body that cause depression. So any people, even those who seem to be healthy, may absorb things that cause problems in life and make them feel anxious or depressed. So if we want to make any progress, we need to eliminate any impurity we absorbed throughout the lifespan. This could be accomplished by evacuation in Iranian mysticism and particularly in Faradarmani for physical, psychical, and mental issues. Evacuation is a process in which cells in the body shows their symptoms of illness. So if the symptoms of illness intensify during the connection, this is because of evacuation. This is the process in which the intelligence is going to eliminate impurities. To understand it better, we can consider an old house that needs some improvements. We can do some information to make it able to live. We can do some reformation to make it able to live, but finally that old house with all reformations will make us a lot of problems. A better idea and solution is to destroy the old house and build a new one with a modern design. This is something that we must do with ourselves, but such essential work is not unable to achieve by human capabilities. So we need an extraordinary intelligence to do this vital job for us. We face many issues that arose from the complexities of human existence. So we have different parts such as our bodies or different softwares. Some of them received us from previous generations such as genes. We also bring some of them with us from the prior life. So we need to improve ourselves by a mystical journey, and Faradarmani is just the beginning. It is the purpose of this scan to examine the existence of individuals that leads to the detection of different issues. Evacuation will start after determining individual's health related to an individual's physique, mind, or psyche. The client must wait patiently till all of the evacuations are done. This will result in a complete and natural healing. An evacuation can be very slight for some people, and it can also be more intense for others. The point here is that to think about the source of evacuations. We are dealing with a great intelligence. The goal is not just to become immediately healthy and back to our previous life with many bad habits or inappropriate lifestyle. The intelligence wants to remind us of the cause of disease and make us think about them. Faradarmani is not just about healing. It is mostly about making internal transformations in humans and helps them to move on the road to perfection. This can also allow us to improve the social culture by changing the lifestyle that cause problems for ourselves and others. These attitudes can transfer to the next generations, resulting in social development. Evac Evacuation is related to all human dimensions. A person might seem very healthy, but there might be various psychological and mental tensions, such as being in a black mood that is stored during years and now shows itself as an evacuation. Disease background can be related to different spans in life, such as childhood or even embryonic stage. Evacuation can also link to other manifest and latent issues, dormant fears, psychological tensions, or mental disorders. In the process of scan, there might be symptoms that indicate the existence of a latent problem. For example, there might be some genes that are not activated yet and will activate in the future. For example, a tremor might relate to Parkinson's disease, or a pain of the heart shows a latent heart disease that will emerge in the future. So this is a comprehensive scan that is done by a great intelligence. Humans cannot do such a great thing with any advanced technology. There is an important point that must be addressed here. Some people wrongly think that a pain or a symptom of a disease received them by Faradarmani because they aren't any physical intervention even touching the patient. The Faradarmani connection can't be the source of symptoms or pain. They were actually in the individual's body, and the connection just makes them appear. The other question that most people ask is how to practice Faradarmani, how to find a practitioner to establish the Faradarmani connection for us. If you know a person that is a practitioner of Faradarmani in your country, in your family, in your friends, you can ask them to simply establish the connection for you. But if you don't know anyone, you need to join our community, to join our application. Then there you can request for the Faradarmani connection. In order to do that, you need to go to this website, Mighty Networks. You need to sign in, and you can also, there is an application for smartphones. You can also download it and download it in your smartphone or use your browser in your computer. After signing in this website or this application, you need to search for the word Lightworkers app. This is the place you can find us So after searching for Lightworkers app, you need to join there. That will a place like this. Here we have different tribes like aromatherapy, crystal therapy, and we have also a Faradarmani tribe. You need to join the Faradarmani tribe in this application, and after that, as you see, we have different events in this application. We have daily Faradarmani sessions at 1:30 p.m. New York times. So you can join the Zoom meeting every day where we discuss about experiences of different people that experience the Faradarmani connection, and also I also set up a connection for participants there. You can also request. We have different parts in the application. We have a chat room here, so you need to go to the Faradarmani tribe at first, and after that we have a chat room here, the Faradarmani tribe. Click on the chat room part, then you can see that people requested for the Faradarmani connection. So you can simply request for the connection by writing Faradarmani connection request and then write your name and the time you are going to do the Faradarmani connection. It is completely depends on your free time and your convenience. You can choose any time in your time zone. And you can also mention that you are going to do it for example, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, a month, or a year. You can also send me a message if you have any question here. Thank you so much that participate in this webinar. See you in the application. Bye.